In the United States, plastic surgery is very common. Mostly it's about boobs and butts. In South Korea, plastic surgery is about double eyelid surgery to open up the eyes to make them bigger. Facial bone contouring, where they shave the cheek and the chin to give them more of an oval face. And rhinoplasty, which you have 7 noses to choose from. Today I will share my research on South Korea. Before I started working for GISD, I worked for Samsung, a Korean company, for 2 years. First, I will give you an overview of the cultural aspects. Second, the unique communication behaviors. And lastly, a current event. During my 2-year assignment, I learned when greeting an older person, you reach out with your right hand, supported by your left. The more respect, the deeper the bow. And when you're exchanging business cards, you use both hands, giving and receiving. In the Culturegram 2021 Culturegram Online World Edition, South Korean Cultures, dating and marriage section, no kissing is permitted in public. Holding hands is acceptable. Weddings happen during lunchtime during the week, normally with like a dinner celebration. Now that I've told you general information of South Korea, let us move on to their unique communication behaviors. Power distance, uncertainty avoidance, and indulgence. According to Gert Halstead and Michael Minvitz research on page What About Korea, last updated on 2010, power distance scored a 60. Everyone has their place and no one questions the order. The people lower on the scale expect to be told what to do. Uncertainty avoidance scored 80. They have an emotional need for rules. They are intolerant to unorthodox behavior. According to Gert Hostel, gay and lesbian soldiers can serve in the military. However, transgenders are not. I will touch more on this briefly in a moment. They scored a 29 pertaining to indulgence, control. South Koreans do not allow themselves leisure time or gratification of their own desires. I told you of the general information, unique communication behaviors of South Korea. Now I'm going to tell you of a tragic event. Former Staff Sergeant Brun in the Korean Army was found dead, according to an article in the transgender woman expelled from South Korean Army is found dead by Cho Sang-eun in the March 30th edition of the New York Times. A transgender woman who was expelled by South Korea last year after gender reassignment was found dead in her home in south of Seoul, police said on Thursday. Former Staff Sergeant, it was reported she was discharged after her gender reassignment due to the loss of her male genitalia from surgical became disabled. Another article in the New York Times in the South Korean, gay soldiers can serve, but they might be prosecuted, by Cho Sang-eun in the July 10th, 2020 edition. Transgender people thanked her for speaking out for transgender rights in the face of social stigma. Ms. Brun, due to the loss of her male genitalia, became disabled. She fought for the rights. Lim Tae-hoon, director of the Military Human Rights Center, said, "We pray that Staff Sergeant Brun, Hee-soo, a tank driver, will live with like-minded people in the world where there is no discrimination and hatred." With that being said, Let me conclude. First, I gave you an overview of cultural aspects. Then I told you the unique communication behaviors. Lastly, I told you about a tragic current event. One day I would like to visit South Korea. I have done many reports for school and also working with the culture. I would like to someday visit Seoul, South Korea.